Imagine living in a world where danger lurks around every corner. Trusted figures like your doctor or the neighbor next door could be hiding a monstrous secret. Today, we're uncovering the terrifying tales of the top 3 most wanted serial killers in history. Men who turned their communities into hunting grounds and left behind a legacy of fear. With over 300 victims, these killers shattered countless lives. How did they evade the law for so long? What drives a person to commit such unimaginable acts? Join us as we delve into the dark recesses of the human mind. In the annals of crime, few figures evoke such a profound sense of betrayal as Harold Shipman. A seemingly ordinary general practitioner operating in the heart of England, Shipman hid a sinister secret beneath his unassuming facade. He was, in truth, a predator cloaked in the guise of a healer, a wolf in sheep's clothing who preyed upon the very individuals entrusted to his care. Shipman's reign of terror unfolded over 2 decades, claiming the lives of an estimated 250 victims, most of whom were elderly patients under his care. His weapon of choice was morphine, a powerful painkiller that he administered in lethal doses, extinguishing the lives of those who placed their trust, their very well-being, in his hands. The methods employed by Shipman were as calculated as they were chilling. He would often visit his victims in their homes, injecting them with the fatal doses under the pretense of routine medical care. The trust inherent in the doctor-patient relationship served as his shield, allowing him to operate undetected for years. The families of Shipman's victims were left grappling not only with the grief of their loss, but also with the profound sense of betrayal that accompanied the realization that their loved one had been murdered by someone they had trusted implicitly. The very person who had sworn an oath to heal had instead brought about their demise. As suspicion surrounding Shipman grew, so too did the scope of his crimes. Investigators uncovered a pattern of death that was impossible to ignore, a trail of bodies that led back to the seemingly innocuous doctor. When the full extent of his crimes came to light, the world recoiled in horror. Shipman's trial was a media spectacle, captivating the attention of a nation grappling with the realization that a trusted physician could be capable of such unspeakable acts. The evidence against him was overwhelming, a tapestry woven from medical records, witness testimonies, and the sheer number of lives tragically cut short. In 2000, Harold Shipman was found guilty of 15 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. The weight of his crimes, the sheer magnitude of his betrayal, left an indelible mark on the British psyche. The case of Harold Shipman served as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of human life, even in the hands of those entrusted with its care. It exposed the dark underbelly of trust, revealing that even in the most seemingly benign of settings, evil can lurk, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Shipman's legacy extends far beyond the cold statistics of his crimes. It continues to haunt the families of his victims, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked evil. His name has become synonymous with betrayal, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones, a chilling reminder that monsters can wear many faces, even that of a trusted physician. The case also prompted a thorough review of medical practices and safeguards within the British healthcare system. The aim was to prevent such a tragedy from ever occurring again, to ensure that the trust placed in medical professionals is never again so catastrophically violated. In the aftermath of Shipman's conviction, questions lingered about the motives behind his heinous acts. Some speculated that he derived a perverse pleasure from controlling the lives and deaths of his patients, a twisted sense of power that fueled his murderous spree. The Andes, a majestic mountain range that stretches along the western edge of South America, evoking images of breathtaking beauty and natural wonder. Yet within these towering peaks and verdant valleys, a darkness once lurked, embodied in the chilling figure of Pedro Alonso Lopez, a man whose name would forever be synonymous with terror and depravity. Born in Colombia in 1948, Lopez's early life was marked by poverty, abuse, and neglect, a toxic cocktail that would leave an indelible mark on his psyche. His descent into darkness began in his youth, marked by petty crime and a growing fascination with violence. As Lopez grew older, his crimes escalated in their brutality and depravity. He began to target young girls, luring them away with promises of sweets and small gifts, only to subject them to unimaginable horrors. His modus operandi was chilling in its simplicity and efficiency. Lopez would often befriend his victims, gaining their trust before leading them to secluded areas where he would unleash his full fury upon them. He would rape, torture, and ultimately strangle his victims, their lifeless bodies discarded in shallow graves or left exposed to the elements. Driven by a twisted sense of purpose, Lopez believed that he was on a mission to cleanse the world of what he perceived as impurity. He saw himself as an avenging angel, meting out his own form of justice upon those he deemed unworthy of life. Lopez's reign of terror spanned 3 countries, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, leaving a trail of grief and devastation in its wake. He would often move from town to town, blending into the local population, a phantom preying on the innocent and vulnerable. The exact number of Lopez's victims remains unknown, lost to the mists of time and the chaotic nature of his crimes. However, he himself confessed to killing over 300 young girls, a staggering number that cemented his place as one of the most prolific serial killers in history. In 1980, Lopez's reign of terror came to an abrupt end when he was apprehended in Ecuador after a failed attempt to abduct a young girl. The authorities, initially skeptical of his claims, were horrified when he led them to a mass grave containing the bodies of dozens of his victims. Lopez was tried and convicted of the murders of 110 girls in Ecuador, though he claimed to have killed many more. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowed by Ecuadorian law at the time. However, in a shocking turn of events, Lopez was released from prison in 1998 for good behavior. Chapter 3. The Butcher of Rostov, Andrei Chikatilo. The Soviet Union, a vast empire shrouded in secrecy and ruled with an iron fist. Behind the facade of communist ideals and socialist progress, a darkness festered, embodied in the chilling figure of Andrei Chikatilo. Born in 1936 in Ukraine, Chikatilo's early life was marked by hardship and trauma. Witnessing the horrors of famine and war left an indelible mark on his young mind. Chikatilo's outward appearance was unremarkable, that of a quiet and unassuming family man. He was a teacher and a grandfather, blending seamlessly into the fabric of Soviet society. Yet beneath this veneer of normalcy lurked a monster, driven by dark impulses and an insatiable thirst for blood. Chikatilo's reign of terror began in the late 1970s, targeting young boys and girls. Once alone with his victims, he would unleash his full fury, subjecting them to unimaginable horrors. His methods were brutal and sadistic, often involving torture and mutilation. Chikatilo seemed to derive pleasure from the suffering of his victims. The Soviet authorities, initially reluctant to acknowledge the existence of a serial killer, were eventually forced to confront the horrifying reality of Chikatilo's crimes. The bodies of his victims, often discovered in shallow graves or discarded near railway lines, bore witness to the brutality of his attacks. A massive manhunt was launched, involving thousands of police officers and volunteers. The investigation was hampered by bureaucratic inefficiency and a lack of resources. For over a decade, Chikatilo evaded capture, moving throughout the Soviet Union, leaving a trail of blood and terror in his wake. Finally, in 1990, Chikatilo's reign of terror came to an end when he was apprehended by police near a known crime scene. As we reflect on these chilling stories, it's crucial to remember the victims whose lives were forever altered. Each killer left a scar on society, serving as a reminder of the darkness that exists in the world. Thank you for joining me on this unsettling journey into the minds of history's most wanted serial killers. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of our past.